So I imagine that means we're good. So hold on a second. I'm gonna just check my text messages to see if Rob Wedge had texted me. No, I guess I remember if he texted me. All right, well, anyways, there's there's 5 of us here, at least. There's 4 of us in person, and Steve is on the Zoom. So we'll move on to the next item, which is approval of minutes, October 20, regular monthly meeting. Does someone want to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Dave's got the motion, and Larry had the second. Any changes to those minutes? Any changes? Steve, any changes?
No, thank you. Thanks for asking.
All right, so hearing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose? Anyone abstain? All right, this passes 5-0. All right. Correspondence 4-month and year-to-date report from the tax collector, reading Warren. And did everybody get this? This is the. Yeah. Any other correspondence come in that that's either not captured here or that I'm forgetting? Any other correspondence since the last meeting?
This report considered correspondence?
Probably, was that not part of what he included?
No,
Okay,
he just gave, I had one sheet.
this was
Yeah, is this different?
the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, from the tax collector, tax office reports.
All right, so this is the June 30, 2022. Yeah.
Correct.
So then I guess what we'll do is we'll have this be reflected in correspondence.
Dated today, so.
It's dated today. Oh, so then I guess that means we should put it into next month's correspondence. Or should we put it, I mean, because I'll let Dottie decide. Dottie, this is the tax office reports for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022. And as Dave points out, it's dated today. So you can either amend the minutes for this month, or you can just put them into the minutes for next month. I'll let you make the decision.
And she gave you a thumbs up.
I thank you, Dottie. So then we move on to, hold on a second here. All right. We move on to citizens' comments, and we actually have a citizen here in the room with us. I don't want to put her on the spot, but I was very excited. So just in case this citizen has any comments, if she wants to introduce herself, that's fine. But I got an email that says, this comes from, I hope I don't mispronounce the last name, Trish Tupaj?
Hi.
Tupai. Trish Tupai, business education teacher, FBLA advisor. Message. This is dated November 14. This summer, when teachers from TMHS met with Suzanne Witkowski to discuss ways to get more high school students involved in town government, as part of our portrait of a graduate, it was suggested that we find a Board of Finance liaison to attend meetings. Kaylee Beck, Future Business Leaders of America member, has volunteered to attend Board of Finance meetings to learn more about town finances and the budget, and I think she meant to say, and how the budget process works. She has met with Bill Stiglitz already and intends to be at this week's meeting. Thank you, Trish Tupai. So welcome, Kaylee. I wanted to at least recognize the fact that you're here, just in case you wanted to maybe take a minute just to tell us a little bit about yourself, like what grade you're in at Turtle-Lot and what your interests are, because this is the citizens' comments section of the meeting, so you could share some comments.
Thank you. I'm Keely. I am a junior at Turtle-Lot. I think I'm pretty involved in the community here. I volunteer at Teague. I work at Omnia down the road. And I don't have any comments yet about the finances, but I'm mostly here to observe today, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to make some comments.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
she was kind enough to stop by the accounting table at Career Day, which is nice, because I don't get many visitors over there.
Nice, nice. So I'm assuming because you volunteered to come to a municipal meeting that you have at least some interest in government and civics and et cetera.
Yeah, I took government last year and it was very interesting.
All right, fabulous.
Mhm.
Well, welcome,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Any other citizens have a comment? Any other citizens? All right. We'll move on to selectmen's update. For selectmen, Amy St. welcome Amy.
Good evening. Lots going on. The Route 12 sidewalk project is wrapping up. They will be back in the spring to finish up some punch list items. But we did the sidewalk, we walked the sidewalk today and pleased to report that it's almost finished. On the other flip side of things, we're going to be hopefully beginning the Main Street reconstruction and sidewalk project. Should we be lucky enough to receive the lot set grant. We do intend to apply for that grant before year's end. And again, fingers crossed for another positive grant application that can fund the sidewalks for Main Street and the reconstruction. So that's that. Additionally, the application was placed for the State of Connecticut Local Bridge Program, and that is for the Buckley Hill Road bridges. As if you recall, it's a 50% reimbursement grant. The bridges are estimated at costing $3 million to replace. So additionally, more bad news. The bridge on Wilsonville Road over the French River was downgraded to 4. So we currently have 3 bridges so the 2 Buckley Hill Road bridges, the Wilsonville Road Bridge and the Spicer Road Bridge over the 5 Mile River. All of those are rated as 4 at this time. So, yeah.
See, that's, the Spicer Road Bridge had been redone with a cement culvert.
I'm surprised.
Then maybe it hasn't been updated, but the report just came in on November 3rd. So I can have Joe and I can follow up on that then.
How long, I'm sorry, do you remember how long ago?
No,
Like the Spicer one?
Because it's a pretty solid,
it was a
It's
pretty solid culvert.
concrete.
The
with a
Spicer
concrete-
Bridge?
yeah.
Is that the bridge that's right next to the house that Barney Snee lived in years ago?
No.
No, that's Quanticum Farm Road.
Now when we did Scout.
Okay, because I just remember that bridge seemed appeared to be in pretty good shape, so.
It could have been 20, 30 years ago, Bill. I'm
This
not
one's
sure.
actually at the end of my driveway.
I was just gonna say, it can't get any closer than that.
So that's, that's the deal on that. I lost my train of thought.
Spicer in East Thompson? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that note, I did get a visit from a representative from Senator Murphy's office. This was the first time a liaison has ever come in aid to the senator. First time I've ever been visited. It was a nice visit. We also visited, we went over to Teague to discuss some of the issues that Teague faces. One of the big issues that I discussed with her was infrastructure issues and just not having the funding to keep up with the crumbling infrastructure, the bridges, roads, etc. So she does hope to have the senator here for a visit in the not too distant future. So I'll keep everybody apprised to that. Let's see, we had a November 9th meeting with Lieutenant Haglund. It was a very robust discussion. Lieutenant Haglund is the commander of Troop D. Mr. Gillott did join us for that meeting, so I was very grateful for his attendance. There was a mixed group of citizens and Board of Finance representation. Superintendent Smith attended. It was about 2.5 hours long and it was nonstop discussion. It was a very good discussion. In the end, we're opting to meet again on November 30th with the ultimate goal of coming up with a couple options that we can bring to town meeting and let the citizens decide what level of security they want at the school. Again, this was a push from some parents to have armed security guards at the school. And we're trying to accommodate those wishes and then eventually get the public to make that final decision. Let's see, the search for the highway mechanic continues. Salaries, as I guessed, are a sticking point. But we have confidence that the right individual is going to that will fit the position is out there, and we're going to find that person. So we are back out looking for a mechanic after a round of interviews that. So. And the last thing is just that at our Board of Selectmen meeting on Tuesday, we voted to present the budget transfers to the Board of Finance tonight, which our finance director will be discussing during his report. And I think that's all I have.
Any questions for the first slide?
Steve,
Oh,
please,
Steve, go
please,
ahead.
I just wondered, the rating of poor, is that as low as it goes, or there, help me understand that.
To my knowledge, it's the lowest it goes. According to the reports, they don't indicate that there's anything lower than that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question.
Any other questions? So Wilsonville and Spicer, those are newly designated. pools.
See, Spicer was showing the last report that was done in 2020
That was showing poor.
was showing 4, so,
Okay.
I'll have to visit that if you're stating that. It was repaired not too long
Oh,
ago.
no, it's several years ago.
Okay, all right,
The culvert was put in.
right.
I don't know of any repairs.
And it might be an option if we bring, so the head of bridge inspection is William Freeman. And in the past with the Aquatic Town Farm Road Bridge, he actually aided us in coming to a correction without having to go through engineering, et cetera.
Mhm.
So that may be an option since it had that work done, even though it was several years ago. So that's what I'll work with Joe, Public Works Director, and see if there's something we can do.
That's what I was wondering. So now that we know that these 2 additional bridges are rated poor, and obviously there was a plan in action already for the Buckley Hill bridges.
That was because because it's a complete replacement.
And so then obviously the task now is to figure out what's the plan for Wilsonville and Spicer.
Correct.
I have a comment. I know before we had discussed like downgrading, they could downgrade some roads for the GVWs. That might be an option
Which we
for
did
Spicer
for-
also.
For which we
You know.
we did with Buckley Hill Road because it was such a cutoff for trucks.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so Spicer, that, I don't know what the
That
grading is
might
there,
not
but,
really, yeah.
but I mean, it is a cut through road opposed to Aquatic Town Farm, so.
Right.
Maybe that could get downgraded to a smaller, requirement and save some money there.
Mhm. Yeah,
So that Wilsonville bridge must be the Wilsonville Road Bridge. It must be the one that's right next to Route 12.
Mhm.
That's
Like
the
you
big
get off
one.
of 12 and then you go over
Yes.
the bridge before you go over the railroad
Right.
tracks. Yeah. Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, that one's a little different too, I think, because it has there's like a hydroelectric plant possibility there too.
well, there's the dam there.
There's
Yeah, right.
an actual dam.
Yeah,
And that is that the dam that there was a dam that had a low rating, but I think that was the one that was over more near
That
Knights
dam-
of Columbus, right?
Does
Yes.
need to be repaired.
Okay, that's another one.
So,
Okay.
wait, which dam? The Knights Dam or the,
Langer Pond Dam.
and is that the Knights of Columbus Dam?
No, that's the North Grosvenor Dam, and that's owned
Okay.
by a private.
So then the
So,
dam that
yeah.
needs to be replaced is the one that's under the Wilsonville Bridge, is that what we're talking about? Okay,
So right next to it, it's like
yeah, yeah.
100 feet.
about that.
Yeah.
So is that a privately owned dam?
Langer Pond is not. It's owned by the town.
Okay, that's our dam.
Mhm.
So 2 things at once.
Wow, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, and just a note, we have been trying to get grants to cover the cost of the repair of that dam. We failed to receive them, so
Yeah.
it isn't considered a high hazard.
Right.
So,
I figured as much.
yeah, we've tried twice,
It's always held.
yeah.
That's
No,
right.
I'm serious.
Right,
Right, yeah.
The breach was not at the dam in 55.
And then the other one's owned by the bank, right?
it
That's the
is
one that-
actually owned by a private developer now,
Oh, okay.
and the bank had put aside 2.5 million.
Yeah, I know it was
For the
discussed, I
repair.
just didn't.
This is
Yeah.
the one that's near the Knights of Columbus?
Correct,
Mhm.
That's what I thought, was bank owned,
right,
not anymore.
right. And the intention is to keep the pond the way it is, so they have to repair the dam in order to keep the level of the water high enough.
Got it.
So for the development that's planned there, potentially.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was gonna say, why would somebody buy a dam off a bank?
Right.
What if they know that there's gotta be a reason why you would do
Yeah.
that. So if it's a developer who has a bigger project in mind, that makes
Yes.
sense.
Well, that one was only very important for the mill. The mill development's right there, so.
Right. And the repair that the bank was planning on making would have pretty much eliminated the pond,
Oh,
so.
okay. Anybody else? Anything else? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
School district update, superintendent of schools, Melinda Smith. Welcome, Melinda.
Good evening, everyone. My apologies for not being there this evening, but I had a conflict in schedules and I wasn't going to make it back in time. So I took advantage of the technology and I'm zooming in. A special shout out to Kaylee Beck. She's a humble student at the high school. However, she is an outstanding academic student. She's involved in many activities at the school, a talented musician, a wonderful actress. So you are blessed to have her there. And Kaylee, usually I'm there in person, so it'll be you and I in the audience. So anyway, I want to start this evening with some good news. Thompson Middle School held a Veterans Day ceremony last week. We were very honored to have Steve Herbert and other local veterans join us for the ceremony. It was really well put together by Principal Granato, Erica Groh, and Justin Leclerc. We thank them for all their efforts. The video at the end was really inspiring. I just love that the community at the school celebrates Veterans Day in such a big way. We did have our raffle for our Turtle Lot Memorial High School incentive program. The Santos family had donated 4 Celtics box seat tickets that we raffled off at a value of $1,000. We had a lucky winner, and we were able to put some money aside to promote student engagement in our school. So we're pretty excited about that. The athletic awards for the middle school was held last week, and our participation in middle school sports has significantly increased, and we're about at pre-pandemic levels. So we're excited that we have so many of our youth at the middle school participating. Our honor roll presentation was also held recently at Turtle Lot Memorial High School, and our students, more and more students are being awarded for their academic achievement, which we love. Getting into our enrollment, we currently have 901 students. We're down from 3 students from the previous month. Currently, there are 390 students at Mary R. Fisher, 286 students at Thompson Middle School, and at Turtle Lot Memorial High School, we have 223 students. That's up 3 students from last month. We have a couple of students who enrolled from Massachusetts and 1 from Kenya. So that's awesome to have in our small community. We currently have 68 homeschool students. That's up 1 student from last month. And just to give you some background information on some of the students that we pay tuition for to our magnet schools and our VOAG schools, we currently have 4 students at QMC. We have 18 students at Killingley VOAG. I just processed the PO today for payment of $123,000 to Killingley VOAG. And then we have 2 students we pay tuition to at the ACT program. We have seen a significant increase in homeless students in our district. Typically, since I've been here, we've averaged 1 to 2 families a year. We are now in double digits. This means that if a student becomes homeless in Thompson and moves to another town and doubles up with a family, that the district has to pay 50% of the transportation costs, and vice versa. If they're homeless in another town and move into Thompson and double up with a family, we also pay 50% of the transportation back to the town of origin. So those expenses obviously are unanticipated and they fluctuate, but because we have such an increase of homeless students this year, it's having a negative impact on the transportation budget. We've also seen, which is unusual for Thompson, is an increase in English language learners. And the law requires us to hire a part-time ELL teacher to service these students. I just wanted to bring that to your attention as our demographics become more diverse. the services that need to support some of those students in special populations is also going to increase. Right now, in special education and out of district, we have 26 students. Good news is we're down from 1 student from 27. That student transitioned back to Turtle Rock Memorial High School, and that student is on track to graduate this June. So we're very excited about that. Essentially, I want you to be aware of these expenses that are required by law, but are an additional expense to the BOE budget, and it's something we can't avoid. So, and that homeless number is something of concern. Right now, Bill Birch and I, after meeting with the building committee, are putting in a grant for an HVAC upgrade on the campus. There is a 70% reimbursement for that grant. The Board of Selectmen did vote to hold a referendum by January 30th to see what the voters think about that. But we have a deadline to get the grant in for December 1st. So we're going to at least put all the paperwork in, and then we'll leave it to the voters to decide whether or not they want that upgrade. For fiscal FY22, we're closing out last year with a deficit of $211,000. I believe I reported that number to you last month. Bear in mind that $350,000 I transferred from the ARP grant to cover faculty and staff absences due to COVID, and the sub-coverage costs for that deficit would be a lot higher. Right now, Bill is working with the auditors to finalize that number, but right now we're looking at $211,000, and that's primarily because of special ed over expenditures. Speaking of special ed, it is currently overspent by 1.1 million. That's without adding our special ed excess cost grant, which usually comes in around 350,000. It fluctuates from year to year. We are, Dr. Jones and I, working hard to control costs in that area. We're trying to bring more students on site to the Bradley program, which is more beneficial. We cut transportation costs, and obviously the tuition is greatly reduced. We are working on some of those students, some of those 26 students, about 2 or 3 might be ready this school year to transition back into the district. But we have a good number of students that still are not ready to come back on site, and some may never because of the significant disabilities that they have. But overall, things are really good at Thompson Public Schools, and I thank you for your attention.
Questions for the superintendent? Questions? Anything? Anybody? All good? Thank you, Melinda.
Welcome.
Move on to financial report with Finance Director Bill Steglitz.
So my report this month shifts to focusing on fiscal 2023. Property tax collections are strong, 50% of budget on 11.1 million, driven by current year property tax collections to 58% of budget so far. On the state and federal grant side, we received our first payment of the education equalization grant right on schedule at 1.9 million. I believe that hits in 3 installments, and another installment of 1.9, and then a larger installment towards the end of the year. So that's tracking as usual. In some unexpected good news on the revenue side, we received $122,000 from the state in state revenue sharing funds that wasn't in our original budget. This actually took some tracking down to find, but the payment had actually been delayed by a couple of months from the state. This is something that has happened in past years, but has not been around for a few years. So I think it's fallen out of our budget cycle. But that was a great, good guy to see. Other grants of $5,600 also came in. Local revenue is tracking according to expectations. On the expense side, total committed expenses are 5.2 million, or 3.5 million below the full year budget. Keep in mind that's actual expenses plus encumbrances, so it's not a great indication of where we think we're gonna play out at the moment, but that's where it stands in our books. Just a handful of departments that if you were to look at the report, that we're sort of trending ahead of sort of the straight line run rate on expenses. Fire department approaches 100%. That's because the fire department expenses are pretty front loaded with the grants. It's not me. Town council expenses 100% of budget because we encumbered the full budget so far. And the capital expenditures also at 100% of budget because that represents all the payments, the full payments of the TMHS locker room work. On the balance sheet side, cash is down 800,000 since last month, but up versus the prior June. Total fund balance at 5.5 million right now, up 3.5 from June 30th. A couple other items I wanted to touch on, as Melinda mentioned, the school is in their overspent position of 211,000. On the town side, that number is 37,657 at the moment. That's after quite a bit of work with a lot of help from Amy and the other department heads to really trim back encumbrances. When you think about some of the challenges that the town faced this year, increased fuel prices, increased benefits, and obviously the issue with the ambulance. Although you never like to be in an overspent position. Kudos to folks for trying to rein it as best as they could and get that whittled down. Our audit timing has been moved. I had initially reported to the board that they would be here this week. A couple of issues came up. We actually had a data problem within Munis, our bookkeeping system, that delayed the close on our end. Believe it or not, it was a $1,400 issue that held up the close. And wrestle with it as we might, we couldn't get it fixed, and we had to call Munis support. And they actually had to go in and do some programming behind the scenes to get that item cleared out so we could close the books. So clearly an immaterial amount of money, just a little thing to stumble on, which was a little bit frustrating. On the other side of the coin, we had a delay in getting the schedule request from King and King. We actually got that last week, and I'm pleased to report that the team is kind of rallied. And at this point, I think we have provided them about 70% of the schedules on that schedule request. We're still actively working on a number of things. As you all well know, a lot goes into a financial statement audit, and we're definitely attacking it. So they will be here the week after Thanksgiving, that the 29th through the 1st, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Questions for the finance director?
Just one question, the cemetery account,
Yes.
what happened in that account?
So there was some additional work that was done to the Wilsonville Cemetery, I believe it was that came in a little bit. It sounds like the folks who were sort of in charge of the work, maybe it was, the extent of the work was greater than was expected. So when the invoice came in, it's all one item, and it's gravestone repairs essentially.
And most of it was supposed to be covered under the cemetery grant that had been received. And then it was overexpended.
Right. That those monies.
So that shows as a revenue as well as an expense, is that what you're telling me?
Well, in that.
So if it's a grant, why is it showing here?
Right, because the grant was expended, it hit this budget.
Okay.
Any other questions? Questions for the finance director? I was wondering about the encumbrance of the attorney. Is that because you can already see the work that's coming your way, or because you just want to make sure that that account, I don't know, that you don't lose funds in that account because maybe there's overages in other accounts and then you're not able to.
Well, I think it's in anticipation of work that's to come.
So you can
It's
kind of
not-
see through you can see down the pipeline, you can see it coming.
I think it's probably based on the trend of what we saw last year.
I
And
feel-
carried over from last year.
But I feel like they've always encumbered. Prior, they've always,
Okay.
but other things they don't. So
Yeah.
it's really just.
Some departments will. I know we do the same thing on the Board of Ed side with the legal bills.
Yeah.
But those will be trimmed back, just the process that we just went through, that got us down to the 37,000. If we end up, we look at what's left in encumbrances. And trim those back pretty, I mean, this year, very, very aggressively. I mean, we pretty much left fuel and any encumbrances for things that had actually been purchased and were sort of en route.
Yeah.
So we kind of gave it our all there.
I think just to add, in taking back some of the encumbrances that department heads hope to keep, one department in particular took the biggest hit, and that would be Public Works.
Right.
I think it was about 35,000 in things that could have been done still. Of course, we had gone the year without a Public Works director for the most part, but it had to go back.
And some of this is frankly tightening up sort of the accounting there, the spirit and the rules around encumbrances
Yep.
aren't that you stash money away for forever.
Right.
And, you know, this is supposed to represent, I guess, a relatively short-term payable, if you will. So I believe that when we end up speaking to the auditors about that, I would like to think they'll be happy to see that accounting is sort of moved that way.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, right. Anything else? Anyone else? Anything? All right, thank you, Bill. Total lot fund update. Went off anyone.
Rob's
wants to-
absence, I guess it's
Right.
definitely me today. Actually, not a heck of a lot to report there. The new investment manager is up and running. Really, the only activity there, I see buy and sell reports come through. Where they're tweaking the portfolio a bit.
Yeah.
That's really all there is to report. The window project is wrapped up, I believe. But that's about it there.
Who is in charge over at Weiss?
It's actually Jim Zahansky.
Okay,
Yep. He's the lead on our account.
good person. I
He is,
just
yeah.
curious as to who was.
Yeah, I actually, I like the firm a lot. I was pleased that the trustees decided to go that way.
It just occurred to me, does anyone have an extra agenda for Kaylee? Because she's got an empty space of table in front of her. It's just- She's listening along, but she's not able to sort of watch to see where we are. So any questions about the? Thank you, Bill. Any questions about the Turtle Lot Fund update? Any questions from anyone? Questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Bill. New business, request approval of payment from the Board of Education non-lapsing account in a dollar amount not to exceed $143,000 for the replacement of the 2 high school boilers. And Bill, I imagine you'd be the expert to.
Yeah, the invoices are in. It was nice to see that the work came in a little bit under budget, actually. Bill Birch has been pretty complimentary of the help he got both in-house and also from the rigging crew in particular that helped do the work. So it went very smoothly. The boilers are in and they're up and running just in the nick of time, right? So,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Yeah, so that was good. That was great to see. The invoices are in. It includes both the budget work and some other glycol or some other chemicals that were needed as part of the process. But that's in the $143,000. And I forgive you, but I don't have the exact amount, but it's very close to the 143.
Do you know the amount that was appropriated for that?
Well, this is coming from the non-lapsing account, which I believe has 189
Okay, that's
now.
the number I'm looking for.
So we were, yeah, originally the work was originally expected to be around 160 or so. So this is, I guess, good news. On the flip side, just because we're on boilers, unfortunately, there's a new one that's leaking, but Bill he talked about it at length during the Board of Ed meeting. They're trying to essentially trim the boiler size down. Because it's either going to be a very long time until they can get the parts, if they can at all, because they may not be making them any longer.
Which boiler is it?
I think it's middle school. I think it's
Those were the
one of
same issues they had with these.
you know,
They couldn't get the parts.
right?
It's pretty standard.
But hopefully that fix will last for a while. So I know Bill was listening, he'd be laughing at me trying to talk shop.
It's all right.
It was all right. I think before they were like tapping something or they were doing something, some took, some didn't.
Yeah,
They bought some time already before with the ones that we just replaced.
And so you said that the non-lapsing account as of today has 188 in it, is that what it is?
right, it's 188, 189, right around there, and this was the same account that we established at it was April or so of last year. So,
That's right.
so the funds are there to pay for this, and this is exactly what I believe when we talked about it, and Melinda jumped in.
No, she's
Melinda
still
checked
Oh,
out.
she had
Yeah.
more.
But if I remember right, we had earmarked those monies for situations just like this,
Oh, yeah.
special ed
Mhm.
excess.
Yeah.
Spending, so,
Okay,
and this was, I think you had already approved
Yeah.
pursuing this
Mhm,
project. So
yes.
This is just the official approval for the actual payment of the bills.
That's right. All right, so then, any other thoughts before a motion gets made here? I'm thinking, in terms of a motion, I imagine what you need is, a motion to appropriate, not, basically, hold on a second here, let me do this, a motion to appropriate up to $143,000
Correct.
for the purpose of replacement of the 2 high school boilers, funds to come from the Board of Education non-lapsing account. Does that sound like
Mhm,
the motion? All right,
that'll do.
I'll go ahead and make that motion. Does somebody want to make a second?
Rob Man, I'll second it.
Okay, so I've got the motion and Rob Mann has the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Any discussion on this motion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go around the table and we'll start with the Zoom. Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dave,
Yes,
Rob,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So this one passes 5-0. We'll move on to presentation by Finance Director, end of fiscal year budget transfers.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier in my comments, the town is overspent by 37,657. So the schedule that was sent out, this year's exercise is a little bit different than it has been in the past. Because we're in an overspent position, this schedule literally takes every under budget account and shifts that money up to any over budget accounts. Once that all settles out, the remaining $37,000 will sit in the fire department line, specifically the ambulance account, because that was the single biggest account that was over. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at the schedule. I tried to provide for the transfers and the explanations of why. Just to bring it to your attention, the last line in both sections, I collapsed the transfers that were below $1,000 because the schedule got ridiculously long and frankly hard to read. There were 68 accounts that made up the transfer in amount and 153 going all the way down to $1 that made up the transfers out. I do have that detail if anybody cares to see it. But this is an exercise that we do. It's actually as part of the audit. It shows kind of budget oversight. And this schedule, once approved, will be part of the audit package that does go to the auditors.
how do we deal with the 37,000?
Well, I guess there's unfortunately only one spot where it comes from, and that's from surplus, as will kind of be the same situation with the 211 on the school side. The good news is this is, once again, I know I sound like a broken record when I bring this up, but we did have the good fortune this year of also being ahead of schedule on the revenue side of just over 400,000. So net, unless something pops up in the audit, surplus will go up this year. So despite being over budget by a combined about 250,000, we are still about 150,000 to the good, a little higher than that. Because of really excellent tax revenue collections.
Do we need a motion either now or on our next meeting to deal with either one of these overages?
We do definitely need a motion tonight to approve the transfers.
Yes, I
It'd
am.
be terrific if we could get a motion to approve the covering of surplus, but at this point, that's really up to the.
Well, we spoke earlier, I would like to see that
Right.
undesignated transfer, fund
Surplus.
report.
Yeah, sure.
And
Then they-
to
they do the decision.
include this number exactly.
Right.
I'm not sure if we should wait till the auditors look at this and determine a final bottom line and then deal with it.
I know, well, at least historically, this exercise was done in preparation for the audit.
The transfers, but I'm
Yes,
talking about
Yeah.
the 37 and a 200.
That's
11.
that's correct.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I would prefer that we
wait.
get advice and counsel from the auditors to make sure that whatever it is that we do it correctly.
Right, and also that the number is similar to what they say it will be.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the transfers as presented.
So Dave has a motion. Okay, so motion has been made by Dave Johnson to accept the requested transfers as presented, and it's been seconded by Larry.
Do we want dollar amounts in that?
So good question.
Well, the way it's presented, there isn't a dollar amount. It's a
Maybe,
zero balance.
that's right. Maybe would it be helpful to say, total of budget line items to be increased, 673. Total of budget line items to be decreased, same thing, 597,673.
That's accurate.
Would you, Dave, would you be willing to modify your
Yes,
motion to
certainly.
encompass that?
Yeah.
And Larry, would you be willing to modify your second to encompass that?
Mhm.
Wonderful. All right, so at least we've clarified the dollar amount that goes up and the dollar amount that goes down. Any discussion on this motion? Any discussion? I actually have a question. It's sort of like a common person's question because I'm not a CPA, but the ones that say total of budget line items to be increased, is that because those were overspent?
Correct,
And the ones that are to be decreased, those are the ones that were underspent,
correct.
and that's where the money to cover the increase comes from. It comes from these cost savings, quote unquote,
Mhm.
in these underspent, put them up here. And of course, as you mentioned, it's not enough to cover the whole thing. And so you're leaving the 37,657 in the fire department's line item. That's kind of the one that still owns the deficit going forward after this motion in this vote.
Exactly, because that was the account with the single largest deficit.
Yeah, and so from an accounting standpoint, what you're basically doing is what we're doing, once we approve this, is we're saying that the fire department line item was over budget by 37,657. It's basically
And we'll wash it.
legally and from an accounting standpoint, that's effectively what we're doing.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Okay. Any questions, any comments before we vote?
Just a minor comment,
Go ahead.
perhaps since it really wasn't the fire departments that caused the overage, it was ambulance costs, maybe we could retire that line.
I'm sorry, Steve, you broke up there at the end.
Instead of, it's identified as fire departments being overspent, it really wasn't ambulance expenditure, and maybe just a re-identification of that account might be helpful.
But it falls in the fire department account.
Correct. There's an ambulance account within the
The
fire
fire
department.
Okay,
Maybe we can change it to emergency service
Yeah.
or something.
well, is it emergency
Well,
services?
actually, it's budgeted within the fire
It's within
department.
the
That's
fire
it.
department budget.
What I noticed is here, it's called, at least on this full table, it's called fire department, and then account description is grants, fire and ambulance.
Right.
I mean, within this description, is there are two sub accounts, meaning one is fire and the other one's ambulance?
Yes, I believe there are two.
Which would give you the discretion of moving it into the ambulance one without changing the sort of the parent line item, if
Right.
you will.
I'll check on that, but
At least for now, it wouldn't change this, right?
no,
Okay,
no.
There is no separate account number for
Right.
ambulance.
good question, Steve.
Although at some point there probably should be, you know, because it
Well,
has
going
changed.
forward now that we're
That's
budgeting
it.
monies in that area.
That's right. Life has changed. Good point, Steve. Thank you. Anything else? All right, we'll go around the table and we'll start with the Zoom. Steve, how do you vote? All right, Steve, you voted yes?
Yes.
Dave,
Yes,
Rob,
Yes,
Larry?
yes.
And I'll vote yes. This one carries 5-0. And so I guess to be continued after we talk with the auditors to find out, well, how do we handle the rest of this?
Mhm.
Okay, then I guess we'll move on to Board of Finance member comments. Any Board of Finance member have a comment that they want to show? Any Board of Finance member? Go ahead, Steve.
Just to recap what Melinda, Superintendent Smith said, the Veterans Day ceremony was, for me, a very moving ceremony. So I really want to thank them for that. That was, again, very touching for me.
Well stated. Any other Board of Finance member comments?
Yeah, I would just like to thank Bill for the work he's done since he's been on board. I think he's done a fine job and things are beginning to look positive. And I'm sure when we hit the budget season this coming March, that things will roll out in a much easier fashion than they did the previous year.
We have actually already started the process on both sides. The templates are due from the administrators and teachers on the Board of Ed side on the 2nd. And Amy and I have already had some initial planning meetings on sort of tweaking the way we handle ClearGov. And she has volunteered to be an excellent helper on the budget.
We're a
Yes.
team.
You don't have enough for the.
We're a team.
Amy, thank you for everything you do. I appreciate it. Yeah, you always take on roles that you really don't need to. You could easily not take them on and no one would fault you, but you go ahead and take them on anyway. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other Board of Finance member comments? So I would like to close the meeting, kind of not quite how we opened it, but we opened it at the citizens' comments. I wanted to thank Kaylee for joining us this evening, and I would say that this is probably one of the more quieter of the types of meetings that you'll experience, meaning we kind of got through this with, just kind of smoothly, and it's not even 10 of 8 and we're getting ready to adjourn. If you can make it through a budget season and not run out screaming, then I'll say that you've got the stuff to do this.
Don't forget your sandwiches.
I was gonna tell her not to forget a football helmet. Any other Board of Finance member comments? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Larry's got the motion,
second.
Rob's got the second. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? This carries 5-0. It's now 7:49. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
49.